Welcome back. As we mentioned, it's a green morning across Asia. Hopes afloat of a resolution of all the issues between China and the US, at least most of the issues. And therefore, the SGX Nifty is also at the day's high. So with that backdrop, let's now get down to the micros. Our research team is standing by with the CNBC TV 18 top 10 stock list of the morning. Anuj is back with us, so let's find out what's on his mind today.
I think for me, the stock to watch today is going to be IndusInd Bank. Of course, comes out with numbers. I think one of those days where you want to look for any kind of disappointment to buy, because it's an open secret that the numbers would be bad today because of the provisioning, and the bank has clearly mentioned it that it's going to make a lot of provisions. IL&FS issue clearly, but I think this today could be the culmination of that underperformance of IndusInd Bank. It's underperformed Bank Nifty by 22% in last run. Last start of the August, when the Bank Nifty made 52-week high, from that point on till now, IndusInd Bank has underperformed the Bank Nifty by 22%. That's a massive underperformance. And I think that could be perhaps coming to an end, or at least that's the risk-reward trade that you want to take. The other stock is clearly Bharti Infratel, and I know it's rallied 15% already. But it's coming out of a bear market. It's come out of a 4-year bear market. When stocks break out of a bear market, in that case, you don't want to put a number to where it can go. And it's seen quite a bit of delivery-based buying as well. So let us see. Perhaps there's the kind of shorts that you have in system. Perhaps you'll see quite a bit of covering. Some buying perhaps is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. But ever since they spoke with investors, the market took away something from that investor call, and the stock has moved to a different trajectory. But Lata, bonds, NBFCs on the radar?
Yeah, I would worry a bit because yesterday there was a decent amount of short covering in the bond market, primarily on hopes that it was oversold. But the fresh news that keeps coming with crude reaching towards 60 and now talk with one newspaper reporting that there is yet another package, not just a farm package, but also a below the poverty line family package. See, you have to give it that the Modi government has a record of being fiscally disciplined, but this is poll times. So, the markets could get spooked, especially because you saw yesterday a fairly decent rally in bonds. Today, the chances of give back are very high. And therefore, I would be a little wary of betting on NBFCs and PSU banks. They are the two candidates which get affected when bond prices fall.
Okay, so we're going to watch out for a lot of the PSU stocks, the banking stocks and the NBFCs. Rima, so the Infosys shareholders are saying, show me the money on Friday.
Well, yes, they've been asking for that for the last 2 weeks. So it's been reported in the media. So now on 11th, when the board will be meeting to consider the company's numbers, they will also consider a special dividend and buyback. The street expectation is that it should be a $1.5, $1.6 billion capital return to the shareholders, as was earmarked by the company at the start of the year. So this stock will be in focus.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Speaking of buybacks, NMCC also on your radar, Nigel?
Yeah, that's right, Lata. Very small buyback, actually. It's only around 3% odd, at around 98 rupees. Remember, the stock is trading at around 95 rupees, so very, very small in terms of that. And it's also at the lower end, actually, of what the street was working with, because it's only at around 1,000 crores. The record date is on Jan 18th. This will partly support the stock, and the big one will be tomorrow, when the hearing of the Donamalai mines, that's going to be taking place. So that's really the big trigger. But today, it could get supported because of this buyback.
Okay. Well, there is yet... Thanks a lot for that, Nigel. This is another story that my colleague Ritu Singh broke in the dying hours of the market yesterday at 3:30. She reported that the Reserve Bank has refused to grant any standstill or forbearance to banks with respect to the provisioning that they have to make for IL&FS. Banks had requested a 6-month standstill, saying that, if it is an NCLAT, we can't even take any action to recover dues, and therefore a forbearance is called for. The Reserve Bank has rejected it. That is on expected lines, but nevertheless, that's an added negative. Exposures, well, there is the usual suspects, BOI, PNB, all of them have exposures to, practically all the PSU banks have BOI, PNB, I think have large exposures. to this bank, to this NBFC.
To ILNFS, to the group. We'll have to watch out, of course, for some of these lenders then. Nigel, back to you. Tata Steel, they came out with their Q3 sales numbers.
Yeah, they normally come out with the provisional numbers. That's the sales volumes. And I'll tell you what, they look very, very disappointing, actually. So if you're looking at the India business, that's the core business, and that's what gets the highest valuation. Out there on a year-on-year basis, there's degrowth on the India business. Not just that, not only the standalone India business, even the acquired Bhushan Steel asset, or there as well, there's a degrowth. And even in the international business, that's in Europe and Southeast Asia, both those two have delivered degrowth. But the important factor is that India has delivered a degrowth, and they have mentioned seasonal weakness. They've also said that auto sales out there was a slowdown out there, and they have also said that, in fact, inventory replenishment. These are all key reasons why the India business didn't do very, very well. What can support the stock, though, is that reports suggest, yet again, they're looking at selling the Southeast Asia business. It's been reported in the past. Let's see whether or not it happens, and when it happens, at what price. And importantly, the statements coming out of President Trump that there could be a resolution to this trade war, and also he's talking about building a border made out of steel. So those are other news spaces, but otherwise, the provisional numbers are disappointing.
Yes, I completely take the point that Nigel was making. This is backward-looking
data
number, and for metals you want to look for most of the market, but for metals in particular you want to see what lies in store, and in terms of what will happen to global prices.
Especially if it's a question of a steel wall.
Exactly. I think, you would have some kind of steel in any of the wall. Some kind of metal would be there, right?
But if it's a full steel wall, then global steel prices moving higher because of
not at all the expert on that. But today there's anyway a tailwind for all risk assets. If crude is higher, I guess even metals will be.
True.
We'll of course have Manisha telling us
exactly. We'll find that out. But Jet Airways has some more negative news now, Nimesh?
Oh yes, Sana. So the lenders of Jet Airways met yesterday, with the board, and there are a few, as per media reports, there are a few things which were discussed extensively. One, of course, was the fact that a lot of the lenders now want Naresh Goyal and the family to quit the Jet board. So that was one of the things which was discussed. Secondly, the SBI, which is a lead banker or lead lender to Jet Airways, they are willing to buy stake in Jet Airways by converting the debt into equity. And also a proposal of $900 million of recapitalization was also discussed within that meeting, including restructuring of $450 million of existing debt. So a lot of things getting speculated, a lot of things were discussed in yesterday's trade, but given the way things are financially, it looks like it might open in the red today.
Okay, yeah, watching out for this one on a daily basis. Thanks, Nimesh, for getting us the latest there. Anisha, some not so encouraging statements from Dilip Bilkon.
Oh, well, yes, and there is a couple of news points why the stock will be in focus today. First up, CRISIL has actually downgraded the long-term rating of the stock by a notch now to A and stable versus A plus and stable earlier, though they have maintained their short-term ratings. Separately, as you mentioned, the management met with the analysts yesterday, and they hinted at the fact that they might not be able to meet the revenue guidance of 10,000 crores. They said that the actual number could be closer to 9,500 crores. They didn't mention that there are some land acquisition issues, and that's the reason the execution has really taken a back seat. But nonetheless, this will not be taken well by the street. Remember, the stock was trading at the 1,200 levels just a few months ago, and now it's suffering at the level of around 400 rupees.
Yes, and a CRISIL downgrade is not taken lightly by the market, though oftentimes the downgrade follows what the market already knows. In this case, it's a big rating agency, and therefore that will add to the negativity. Yes, Sonal, to you now, you have a bunch of stocks on your radar.
Yes, well, I'll start with Oriental Bank of Commerce. The company has reported to the exchanges that they've sold 0.84% equity stake in NSDL e-governance infra out of the 3.125% stake that they held. Additionally, they have also approved raising capital of an amount of around 5,500 crores on preferential basis. Moving on to the other stock, Kridhan Infra, that will be in focus because the subsidiary that has won an order amounting to around 167 crore rupees. Eicher Motors, that will be in focus again because Rudra Tej Singh, who was the CCO, that is Chief Commercial Officer, has stepped down from his post, and the CFO, Lalit Malik, will take the interim responsibility of the CCO. All Cargo Logistics will be in focus because there are reports which suggest that the company's arm will lease out around 3 million square feet of warehouse to Flipkart and Decathlon, and they will be investing around 450 crore rupees and will be receiving around 72 crore rupees of lease rentals annually. However, these are just reports, and CNBC TV18 has not independently verified them. Lastly, some print media stocks will be in focus. focus like HT Media, DB Corp and Jagran Prakashan because MIB has increased the government ad rates by around 25% for next 3 years. So positive news coming in for them.
Okay, all right, Sonal, thanks so much for that. Let's quickly recap our top 10 list of the morning. Stocks that have positive news flow surrounding them are IndusInd Bank, Bharti Infratel, Infosys, NMCC, Oriental Bank of Commerce, Kridhan Infra, All Cargo Logistics, HT Media, DB Corp and Jagran Prakashan. Stocks that have a bit of a negative tinge surrounding them in terms of news flow are Tata Steel, Jet Airways, Dilip Buildcon, Eicher Motors, SBI, PNB, Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, the entire PSU banking lot, DHFL, Indiabulls Housing, Repco Home and LIC Housing Finance. All right, on that note, we will take a very quick break. On the other side, plenty of technical tips coming up with our technical experts, Ashwini Gujaral, Sudarshan Sukhani and Mitesh Thakkar joining in.